I really thought that I was gonna wrap it up at 5 with my "The NBA is in the toilet" series. I really thought I'd wrap it up at 5. I thought I would, and then I started thinking about it, and I thought about it with myself, and I said, there is so much more that can be said about why the NBA is in the toilet right now. And I used to be an NBA fan. Like I have season tickets to the Miami Heat. I spend a lot of money on tickets to see NBA basketball games, and I've been to many, many basketball games over the last. I mean, I've had season tickets for the Miami Heat. I tickets to the Miami Heat in the 20 was it 2005 season, 20 was it 05, 06, 07, 08 around there. I did have tickets for the NBA championship in 06. So I did have tickets. That was when I was in my 20s and I didn't have any money. Um, but I had tickets for a few years and then they went into the toilet and then I got rid of them. Wish I hadn't because then they were a major investment in 20, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 11, 12, 13, 14 when LeBron James came to town. Wish I had still had them. But that was a mistake. That should but I really couldn't afford them is a reality at the time. But I got tickets again around 2017, around there, 2017, 2018. And obviously, I was in a much different situation financially. So I got season tickets in the ninth row for the Miami Heat and lower level, really good tickets. I've had the experiences of being at game 7 of the NBA, Eastern Conference Finals, game 6, NBA Finals games. I'll be real. I didn't even go to the finals games in against Denver because Miami got beat up so bad in game 3 because I split it with a partner and I had tickets for game 4 and I was like, you know what, forget this. Series is over. I mean, maybe I'm a bad fan or something like that, but I sold the 2 tickets for $3,500. Probably could have got more than that, but I sold them for $3,500, which paid for my entire playoff season. Nonetheless, I've had tickets for a while, and I'm an NBA fan, or I was an NBA fan, but the NBA has become so hard to watch. And with the way this All Star weekend went, there's so many things that popped off. You have LeBron opting out the day of the game, an hour before the game, basically fucking another player out of getting into the All Star on the All Star team. Same thing with Anthony Edwards. I didn't realize Giannis Antetokounmpo didn't play either, but I don't think he opted out the day of. I think he opted out when he was hurt, and they got someone else to replace him. I'm pretty sure about that. But nonetheless, you have these guys opt out. You have the skills competition debacle. You have the way they styled this game where it was an utter and complete joke. Um, Giving non All Stars All Star status, and then of course you have the Leangelo Ball concert, which was almost comedy in itself. But this is another reason why the NBA is in the absolute toilet. And I'm going to continue this series because I have a lot of things I can dive into. And this was the one that most recently, last night when I was thinking about it, said, yeah, I got to talk about this because this more than anything shows you why the NBA is in the toilet. But welcome aboard once again to Rudy's Rant, powered by Coming Out of the Podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont, where we talk facts over feelings. You know how we do it here. I'm Rudy the Hammer, so I'm going to bring the hammer down on you. It's hammer time. And for those of you who are new to this channel, I appreciate you being here. Please be sure to like, subscribe, follow, hit the bell, leave a comment. And for those of you who are back again, I appreciate y'all. Leave a comment, like the video, pound the like button. That's really what's most important in leaving a comment. I appreciate all of that. Here's why the NBA. Here is another reason why the NBA is in the toilet. Let it sink in. Let it sink in for 1 second. Did it sink? Paul George. Paul George is why the NBA is in the toilet right now. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on Paul George. I'm gonna put it on Paul George because Paul George is an example of the entitlement syndrome that LeBron James created. Entitlement to the level of you are in the NBA. You are famous because of your basketball skills. You are wealthy because of your basketball skills. You are wealthy because people pay to watch you play. You are wealthy because people had interest or have interest in your basketball playing ability. And all you've done over the last couple of years is let everybody know why they shouldn't. You let everybody know why they shouldn't have any interest in the NBA because it's people like Paul George, and he's not the only one, but it's people primarily like Paul George who walk around puffing their chest about how great they are as basketball players, yet they have zero focus on basketball. They don't care about basketball. They don't care about the fans that put the money in their pockets. They don't care about the people that buy the merch and his jersey and hats and t-shirts and all those different things. The selfish mentality of these NBA players permeates the entire league. And I'm probably going to hit a few more of these people in this series of why the NBA is in the toilet. But Paul George has a podcast, as you already know. It's called Podcast P with Paul George. Remember, there was a time where people almost made a joke about playoff P. I never knew if that was a serious thing or people really believed like his play elevated in the playoffs because I never saw Paul George's play elevate in the playoffs. I always saw his play typically go the other direction. Maybe people remember, maybe he had some good games here and there, but consistency wise, he wasn't a consistent playoff performer. He had some great seasons. I mean, he had a fabulous season in the 2018-2019 year with OKC playing next to Russell Westbrook, where he averaged 28 points a game and finished third in MVP voting, third in Defensive Player of the Year voting, first team All NBA and All Star. That was the best year of his career, without a doubt. The best year of his career. And even in that year, he only shot 43.8%. He's a career 44% shooter. He has the physical gifts to be LeBron. He has the mental gifts to be any random guy at the park. And what do I mean by that? He doesn't have a work ethic. He doesn't care. He does not care about actually being great at what he does. He cares more about what being great could do for him. And that's why you've seen a massive drop off in his game since he left OKC. This guy's made lots of promises. He never wanted to leave Indiana. He wanted to be like Kobe, all that good stuff. And then yet he left Indiana. It didn't work out after a 24-point games per game season in 2016, 2017. He's part of two teams. There were multiple teams that played the Miami Heat in the playoffs when the Big Three was there. And then so he wanted to stay in Indiana, and he said he would be at Indiana forever. He wanted to be like Kobe. He'd been in Indiana for 7 years. And then after year 7, he says, I'm out of here. And what happened there was that he wanted out and he requested a trade. He requested a trade. So the Pacers traded him to OKC for Victor Oladipo. And at the end of the day, they traded him for Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis. Now, at the end of the day, he wanted a player to come play with him at Indiana, but he also felt that there were issues with how they treated players. They didn't have a commitment to winning, all that stuff that he claimed. Except you're being regarded as one of the top 10 players in the league. Like you don't need another top 10 guy to be elite. And that was part of the problem. He really never was that guy. He never was a 1A. He was always a 1B or a 2. And when he got traded to OKC, he immediately became a 2. In 2017, 2018, the dog in OKC was Russell Westbrook. That was the reality. That was Russell Westbrook's team. It wasn't Paul George's team. He had to fit in. And that was when Russell Westbrook was putting up triple doubles like people eat Skittles. When Russell Westbrook in 2016, 2017 averaged 30, what was it, 31 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, was MVP of the league, first team All NBA, and all that good stuff. So now he's there with Russell Westbrook, and he's there for 2 years with Russ. And he has that first 2017, 2018 year with Russ where he averages 22 points a game. But even the next year with Russ in 2018, 2019, he's still second fiddle to Russ. Even if he finished third in the MVP voting, you can go look at the numbers. You can go see that Russell Westbrook in 2018, 2019, he averaged, what was it exactly? He averaged 22, 9, 11, and 10. So again, a triple double. Russell Westbrook was a walking triple double. Even though Paul George led the team in scoring, this was still Russell Westbrook's team. He was still second fiddle in reality to Russell Westbrook. And then he decides he wants out of OKC. Remember, this is the same guy who said that the the Pacers weren't looking to win. And now it's OKC's not looking to win. And now it's he asks to be traded. Um, he asked to be traded from OKC because they couldn't help him win a championship. In 2 years, he felt that he and Russell Westbrook had run their course. And Russell Westbrook eventually did get traded as well himself. Let me see where. Uh, yeah, he eventually got traded himself. But at the end of the day, you have a situation where was he traded initially? He traded to Houston. Yeah, Russell was traded to Houston. So you now have Russ leave OKC, Paul George leaves OKC, and he goes to LA to team up with Kawhi Leonard. Again, he's not the first guy. He's the second fiddle. So this guy that's been proclaimed to be so great has been second fiddle everywhere outside of his time in Indiana. So the time where he could be the guy, the dog, the top dude, he wanted out. Then he wanted out again. Then he wanted out again. And then this past year, he wants the Clippers to pay him. He says, fuck you, pay me. I want my money. All right, well, part of the problem with wanting your money is that Paul George doesn't play basketball games. He's just on a basketball team. He just plays for a franchise. He doesn't play games. He's never on the floor. And people like Paul George are what the big problem with the NBA is today. And it's why the league is in the fucking toilet. Paul George played 5 seasons with the Los Angeles Clippers. Paul George, in each season, missed a truckload of games. For people that criticize Jimmy Butler for missing games, Paul George has never had knee issues like Jimmy Butler. He's just a pussy. Paul George missed 24 games in 1920. He missed 18 in 2021. He missed 51 in 21-22. He missed 18 in 22-23. The first year he played any meaningful basketball was this past season with the Clippers, where he played 74 games. But he's never had that 28 point per game season since he left OKC. And it's weird because he had the opportunity to be that guy, as Kawhi Leonard might be the one guy who plays less basketball than Paul George. The one guy who finds more reasons to be injured than anybody on the face of the earth. So Kawhi Leonard misses all of 21-22, and then Paul George misses 51 games. So they both missed that damn season for the most part. Kawhi Leonard, I mean, my God, he had this year in LA, he's played 15 games out of almost 55. Like 55. Another guy who's been a complete, ski mask wearing criminal because he's stolen money from this team. The LA Clippers with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard had to be the biggest disappointment in the history of NBA basketball for what people thought the expectations could be of these guys. But let's look at the bigger picture of this situation. Back to here, his podcast. What if I told you that Paul George has played Since 20 the 2019-2020 season to now, this year, he's played in 298 games. He's missed a boatload of games. He's missed 138 games. Paul George, since October of 2024, has posted 280 podcast videos to his podcast. Now, I understand Paul George is not the producer of the content. He's not the person that does the digital work of the content because of it's under Prize Picks. I mean, he doesn't. He's the talent, which whatever that means. Paul George has been on 280 podcast videos, full videos and shorts since October. Since October of 2024, we are now mid-February. He has actually he's done 90 podcast videos. Understand the fact that Paul George in 2024-25, this first season with the Philadelphia 76ers, for which another ski-mask job. I cannot believe there was a team that was dumb enough to sign this bum. He's played 35 games. He's nearly tripled the amount of games he's played to podcast videos that he has had loaded and prepared since October. Full videos. So when I say 280 videos, it was full pods and shorts. Full pods alone, 290 full pods since October of 2024. He's played 35 games. This guy is more concerned about being a podcaster than he is a basketball player. He's 34 years old. He has somehow, his agent finagled a 4-year, $211 million contract from the Philadelphia 76ers. He's making $49.2 million this year. He's making $51.666 next year. He's making $54.126 in 26-27. When he's 37 years old, in 27-28, he will be making $56.586 million. He has a player option. There's no chance in hell that he opts out of that deal because no one on earth will offer him a nickel to play beyond the 2028 season. In fact, it wouldn't shock me if someone tried to buy him out, if the Sixers attempted to buy him out potentially in 27 or in 28, simply because the motherfucker doesn't play. He's utterly useless. He doesn't care about basketball. He cares about doing a podcast. And this is what happens when you have these marginally intelligent basketball players decide they want to be podcasters and pretend journalists, because they're not real journalists. It's all a bunch of bullshit. It's like having your friends over and having a conversation. That's what their podcasts are. You learn absolutely nothing. You're not educated by anything. It's a big old fucking social circus. And it's unbelievably embarrassing. They'll never ask real questions. They'll never ask real questions. Like they want to be viewed as, media. They're not media. They're shooting this shit in their living room. I mean, this is not his living room, I don't think, but that's essentially what it is. The man's making 4 years, $211 million, and he's produced 3 times as many podcasts as he's played games. He's missed 19 games this year. 19 games. He's averaging a career low 16 point. I'm going to say career low because I'm not going to include his first 2 seasons where he averaged 7.8 and 12.1. Since he became a ball player, a player that people respected as a potential future star, he's having the worst season of his career this year. He's shooting 42.6%. He's averaging 16.1 points per game, 5.3 rebounds, 4.4 assists, 1.8 steals. I want you to also think about this. This is a guy who career is averaging over 20 points a game, and since the 13-14 season, averaged over 20 points a game, average over 21 points a game every year, except 14-15 when he was injured and only played 6 games. But other than that, he's averaged over 21 points a game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 straight seasons. This season alone, Paul George has scored under 20 points in 26 of 35 games. This season alone, he's scored only 30 points or more in 3 of 35 games. And this season alone, he has scored less than 10 points 7 times. 7 times, people. 7 times. This guy has scored less than 10 points. This is the guy making $50 million a year. This man has scored under 10 points 7 times. And in fact, in 2 of the last 5 games he's played, he scored 9 points in a 7-point loss to the Miami Heat and 2 points in a 4-point loss to the Brooklyn Nets. 2 points. He played 36 and a half minutes in that game. He played 30. Like you might think, oh, maybe he got taken out with five minutes in. He got hurt. No, this motherfucker played 36 and a half minutes, scored 2 points. In the game against Miami, he's played 32 and a half minutes, scored 9 points. Another game where he played 12 minutes, scored 9 points against Chicago. Another game where he scored 9 points in 22 minutes against Portland. Another game where he scored five points versus Charlotte. Is that Charlotte? CHO? Is that? Yeah, Charlotte. Where he played Charlotte, and he played 39 minutes and scored 5 points. Another game, 17 minutes, a loss to Memphis. He scored 2 points. Another game, 25 minutes. He scored 9 points. This guy has played 35 to 37, 8 minutes in a couple of games and not cracked 5 points. The guy sucks. He's stealing money. His agent committed a freaking crime. I mean, my God, his agent made the steal of the century. And this is the guy who is supposed to be a top level player. And you want to know why the NBA is an absolute fucking disaster and why it's a complete toilet bowl. You got guys like Paul George who walk around like they're actually basketball players when they're not. They don't care about you, the fan. They don't care about their team. They don't care about the league. They don't care about shit. They care about their pockets. He got paid, and now he doesn't give a shit. He's playing next to another guy in Joel Embiid who also doesn't give a shit. Like, these are 2 losers. This loser 1 and loser 2. And I'm going to hit on Joel Embiid next because he's another reason the NBA is in the toilet right now. Joel Embiid. He's just like, this is the circus. This is an absolute circus in Philly. Circus. But yeah, Paul George, more interested in playing Podcast P than he is in being a basketball player. Those are my thoughts. You let me know what you think of playoff Podcast P and what you think of him as a basketball player and how he has helped make the NBA a toilet bowl. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Like the video, subscribe, follow, share, all of it. I appreciate you. God bless. This is Rudy's Rant. We talk facts over feelings. Come on now.